Chapter 21 Jiang Xian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Angel Chiang. Li Heng recognized the car and recalled it cost tens of millions. Damn. I remember seeing Miss Fong in a car like that once. Impressive. Li Heng knew anyone who could afford a car like that was a big deal. He immediately looked over at Qin Yu, who was standing nearby. Qin Yu had seen the two people coming out of the hotel. The younger one in the manager's uniform was the lobby manager, and the other was the woman's older brother, probably around 40 and balding. Word was, he was the lobby manager's boss and had some serious pull. Ma Wenxiu's words had grated on Qin Yu, and he was getting annoyed. Just wait until they find out my car's repair bill is more than her whole damn car. Then we'll see who's lying. Ma Ichuan glanced at Qin Yu, his face unreadable. He'd seen the incident on surveillance, so he knew what had happened. What's the situation? He asked Ma Wenxiu. Ma Wenxiu explained their agreement, and Ma Ichuan nodded, pleased with how things had been handled. Just then, Li Heng's voice broke in. Hello, Mr. Qin. You're staying in the presidential suite. I'm Li Heng, the lobby manager. Pleasure to meet you. Ever since realizing the car was an Angel Chiang, Li Heng had been studying Qin Yu. He'd looked vaguely familiar at first, until he finally placed him. This was the guy who dropped over $30 million for a month in the presidential suite. The whole hotel had been buzzing, himself included. He hadn't been on duty in the lobby when the guy checked in, but he'd seen Qin Yu's picture from the check-in process, and now, here he was, seeing Li Heng. Qin Yu smiled, figuring the manager would know about his reservation. Manager Li, he said casually. That's me. Ma Ichuan, surprised Li Heng recognized Qin Yu, asked, you know him? Li Heng quickly explained, President Ma, this is Mr. Qin. He's staying in our presidential suite. Oh. Ma Ichuan nodded, a little put out. Just a guest in the presidential suite. No need to make a fuss. Li Heng smiled wryly and leaned in to whisper, he's paying over $30 million a month. What? That got Ma Ichuan's attention. He'd seen that kind of money before, but the people who spent it were always the upper crust. Is this guy one of them? Ma Ichuan eyed Qin Yu skeptically. Seems ordinary enough. Probably just has some money. No way he's one of the real big shots. Still, he was a VIP. He smiled smoothly at Qin Yu. Mr. Qin, I'm Ma Ichuan, the general manager. Pleasure to meet you. Oh, you're the general manager, Qin Yu said, finally getting it. No wonder the lobby manager was so respectful. He gestured toward Ma Wenxiu. She your sister? She your sister, that sounded weirdly suggestive. Ma Ichuan's smile tightened. He was a little annoyed, but he nodded anyway. Yes, that's my little sister, Ma Wenxiu. Just a misunderstanding earlier. Please forgive us if we offended you, Mr. Qin. Ha. Qin Yu grinned. No harm done, President Ma. We already agreed on how to handle the little fender bender. We'll go by that. Good, Ma Ichuan said, relieved the situation was settled. Brother, you know him? Ma Wenxiu asked, confused. He's a guest at the hotel. Li Heng, fearing she'd insult Qin Yu again, jumped in. Miss Ma, Mr. Qin is paying over $30 million a month for the presidential suite. What? Over $30 million, Ma Wenxiu was stunned. She suddenly realized she'd been messing with someone way out of her league. Over $30 million a month. That's over $1 million a day, and she was staying in a regular room for just over $1,000 a night. There was a world of difference between them. Maybe he's a rich kid. She felt a little uneasy, but her brother was here. He was the general manager of a 7-star hotel. Even if she'd ticked off a rich kid, it couldn't be that bad. Ma Wenxiu stayed silent, her mind racing. It's a bit crowded here, Li Heng said, noticing the awkwardness and the growing crowd. Why don't we move to the lounge in the lobby? The security can take the car keys and wait for the damage estimator. Sure, Qin Yu agreed. The growing crowd was getting annoying. If he wasn't waiting for the damage appraiser, he'd have already been in his room sleeping. The Ma siblings agreed as well, and they headed toward the hotel. As the group walked away, the crowd dispersed, a few people buzzing. At that moment, a car pulled up to the hotel, catching everyone's attention. No way. It was another Lamborghini Godox T700, also green, almost identical to the one that was damaged. The only difference was the paint looked a little older. It almost caused another accident. It sounded like it. Anyway, this one had local plates, and someone recognized the driver. It's Jiang Xian, the Jiang family's youngest son. Jiang Xian came to Jiangyun Hotel to use the gym. He had a VIP membership and came once or twice a month. The car pulled up to the entrance, and he tossed the keys to the doorman. He was about to head inside with the blue-haired girl in the short skirt who got out on the passenger side. He suddenly felt something was off. He turned and saw everyone staring at him. What's going on? Why are they looking at me like that? Curious, he followed their gaze and saw the two crashed cars. Chapter 22. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First thing I saw was the Lamborghini, identical to his, with the front end smashed. He seemed surprised too, like he hadn't had it long. He glanced over at the other car, and his eyes popped. Damn, he swore, that's gotta be Fong's sister's ride. You know the owner, Xian? The girl with blue hair asked. Let's go take a look. Jiang Xian practically ran over to the cars. I went to check out the Angel Chiang, and the license plate was different. It didn't have that awesome series of numbers, and the paint job was brand new, so I realized I'd jumped to conclusions. Still, I was impressed. That car is seriously expensive. You're talking 9-figure territory, which most people can't touch. The rear end took a hit, not as bad as the Lambo, but still substantial. If that were my car, I'd be devastated. He had borrowed one of these cars to drive before and the performance is beyond imagination. Only about 5,000 of these were made by TIS at the end of last year. Fewer than 100 were bought in China. Point being, not many people even know what this car is. Jiang, do you recognize this car? A guy in his 30s knew Jiang Xian. Seeing the young master of the Jiang family rush over, ignoring the damaged Lamborghini worth a fortune, and getting all excited about some obscure SUV, he was curious. Jiang Xian looked at the guy, who seemed familiar, and instead of answering, asked, do you know who owns this car, and what happened? The guy was eager to tell him everything he'd seen, ending with how both drivers went inside the hotel. Jiang Xian laughed and pointed at the Angel Chiang. None of you recognize this car? If you knew what it was worth, you'd know it's worth 10 Lamborghinis. You wouldn't be so quick to assume the other driver got screwed over. What? That thing's worth 10 Lambos? So, like, $12 million. More like $13 million, easy. And if you're just some regular Joe, you're probably looking at $15 million or more. Jiang Xian explained confidently, almost proudly, like the car was his own. Whoa, a $15 million car. That's not just a luxury car, that's a magic car. Who knew that was the king of the hill? I'm seeing a car worth millions with my own eyes. This is educational. Dude, I gotta go check the comments on the video I just posted. Someone actually said what this car was worth, just like Mr. Jiang said. Anyone who said this car was only worth a few $100,000, step outside. If that's the case, wouldn't the lady from before have the advantage? This is gonna be good. The blue-haired girl with Jiang Xian was also shocked. Xian, that's a multi-million-dollar ride. I thought your Lamborghini was top of the line, but I guess there are even more expensive cars out there. $1 million Angel Chiang is nothing. There are cars that make that look cheap. You just don't know about them, Jiang Xian said with a smirk. Right then, 2 tow trucks pulled up. The insurance company and the car repair shop people showed up to assess the damage. They got the keys from a security guard who was waiting and got to work. Inside the hotel, Qin Yu settled down on a sofa in the lobby lounge. There was a glass coffee table in the middle, and Ma Wenxiu and the others sat down around it. Li Heng, the lobby manager, immediately had a young lady at the front desk bring over some coffee. Qin Yu took a sip of the coffee, thinking about how he was going to spend money. Since the car got totaled, he would just buy a new one, sports car. Supercar. It wasn't just for the show, of course. The main reason was because these type of cars were expensive. Of course, the Angel Qi Ying's price was sky high, but since he already had one, he wanted to get something different, so buying the same model didn't make sense. That gave him an idea. Since he'd need a car to get around later, he figured he'd just use the hotel's chauffeur service. He pulled out his phone, found Tang Qin's card, and called her. After she answered, Qin Yu told her he needed a ride. Tang Qin replied, "No problem. I'll talk to Manager Han and get the keys. I'll be right up." Qin Yu was surprised. "You're going to be my driver?" "Yes, as your service housekeeper, I'm also responsible for driving you. But if you don't want me to drive you, I can find someone else." "Nah, you're good. I'm on the first floor. Just come find me," Qin Yu said with a smile. "Okay." Tang Qin added, "Oh, the clothes you bought last night are clean. I can bring them down if you want to change." "Oh." Qin Yu remembered buying a bunch of clothes last night, but since he always washes new clothes before wearing them, he was still wearing yesterday's outfit. "Nah, I'll wear the new ones next time." "Okay, see you in a bit." Qin Yu hung up, took another sip of coffee, and started messing around on his phone, tuning out the conversations around him. Ma Yichuan was sitting closer to Qin Yu, along with Ma Wenxiu and the two other people sitting on the other side of the coffee table. One was Li Heng, the lobby manager, and the other was Zhang Zhong, the security manager who had just arrived. The hotel general manager was sitting here, so both Manager Li and Manager Zhang had come to keep him company. Not saying much, Ma Yichuan and Ma Wenxiu had made some small talk before Ma Yichuan turned to Qin Yu, who was playing with his phone. "Mr. Qin, where are you from? I don't think I've heard of a Mr. Qin in Nanjiang City." Hearing the hotel manager's words, Qin Yu looked up. He knew what the guy was trying to do, digging for information. Bold fox. After a moment, he gave a half-truthful answer, "Don't worry about it. I'm just a regular guy, work as a small employee at an advertising company. I bought a lottery ticket and won the jackpot. Now that I've got money, I decided to stay in the presidential suite." Ma Yichuan was taken aback. The plot sounded familiar. That was way too casual. "That's it." Qin Yu nodded. "I don't need to lie to you." "Pooh." Ma Wenxiu couldn't help but laugh and said, "New money." The other two people at the table looked at Qin Yu strangely, with small smiles and a hint of envy. Not everyone got so lucky as to win the lottery. If it was that easy, Li Heng and Zhang Zhong wouldn't be managers at the hotel. They'd just buy lottery tickets every day. Ma Yichuan coughed, thought about it, and decided he believed Qin Yu's story about 80 or 90%. It fit the guy's average Joe vibe. He also breathed a sigh of relief. If that was the case, he didn't need to worry too much about this guy. Just then, two people wearing car repair uniforms came in and delivered the damage reports for Qin Yu and Ma Wenxiu's cars. Chapter 23 Don #039, T Believe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the damage report, Qin Yu asked the auto shop to tow his car away for repairs. Ma Wenxiu, a little anxious, grabbed her car's report and skipped to the bottom line to see the total, 240 million. The number surprised her, even though she'd hinted at inflating the price to the dealer. Still, this was exactly what she wanted. She wouldn't be paying for it, anyway. But it still stung. She'd just bought this barely used car, and now it was a wreck. Grumbling inwardly, she mentally blamed Qin Yu again. In her mind, this was all his fault. Manager Li and Manager Zhang also saw the damage report. They knew about the negotiation and felt bad for Qin Yu. They secretly vowed to stay far away from luxury cars from now on. Qin Yu picked up his car's damage report and casually glanced at it. 1.1 billion. That was the price to fix his Angel Qiaoying Shiwei. Most of that cost came from the anti-magnetic field interference device. Just replacing that one piece of black box tech cost over 900 million. Now Qin Yu understood why this car was so expensive. "Alright, buddy, since the damage assessment's done, you can just pay up," Ma Wenxiu said, throwing the report down in front of him. Qin Yu picked it up, smiled, and said, "Only 240 million. I think I can swing that." "Really? Sounds like that lottery win was pretty big," she said with a smirk. "I can transfer the money anytime, but before that, are you going to cover my car's damage?" Qin Yu asked, taking a leisurely sip of his coffee. "How much could your car possibly cost?" "It wasn't even hit that hard, maybe like 10 or 20 grand, max." "Just deduct that and pay me the difference," Ma Wenxiu said impatiently. Qin Yu handed his car's report to Ma Yichuan, who was sipping his coffee, and said, "Take a look. We'll talk after you've read it." Ma Yichuan took it, and when he saw the shocking price, he choked and spat out his coffee. 1.1 billion. He exclaimed. He glanced at Qin Yu, then asked, "This is your car's damage report?" Hearing the terrifying number, the others were stunned. They thought the Lamborghini's damage cost was sky-high, but this was on another level. Ma Wenxiu thought she must have misheard. She grabbed the report and read it herself. 1.1 billion, not 110 million. Was this car made of gold? A random collision cost that much? That price could buy another Lamborghini. Even Ma Wenxiu had a hard time believing it was real. "You're extorting me. Thinking you can just write down any number and people will believe it? Why not just put a billion instead of a measly million?" Ma Wenxiu said bitterly, pointing at Qin Yu. "Wenxiu, sit down," Ma Yichuan said calmly. He didn't quite believe the report, but there was no need to get worked up. "Buddy, you're going too far. What kind of car do you drive? A fender bender costs 1.1 billion to fix. You can't even move it for $1,100. Manager Jiang from security chimed in. Time for him to shine. Maybe his tough guy act would scare this kid into admitting his mistake. Li Hein, the lobby manager, knew about Qin Yu's car and now remembered the price. He regretted not telling Mr. Ma, but it was too late. It wouldn't just fail to impress him but might upset him more. Qin Yu was a big customer of Jiang Hotel, so Li Heng could only stay silent. Qin Yu sneered and said, "I didn't write the report. If you don't believe the price, ask the auto shop staff. Don't call it fake without knowing anything. I wonder if your IQ has been eaten by a dog." "What are you talking about? My IQ eaten by a dog? Explain yourself," Ma Wenxiu exploded. "Mr. Qin," Ma Yichuan said, annoyed, "I don't know how much your car cost, but nobody's going to believe it's worth over $1 billion. If that car could be bought for over $1 billion, I would have bought it a long time ago." "Mr. Ma, you don't even know, it's worth 100 million," a voice said from behind. Hearing someone interrupt, Ma Wenxiu looked up and saw a young man with a buzz cut wearing fashionable clothes, and a blue-haired girl. Annoyed by the fool, he angrily said, "Who are you? Is this a place where you can just chime in? Whoa, even brother Jiang doesn't get respect from you. Who are you?" The blue-haired girl said. Jiang Xian was shocked at the disrespect. "Who do you think you are, acting presumptuously in front of me?" "Oh, Mr. Jiang is here. Sorry, I didn't know you were here." Li Heng said, rushing to greet him. He recognized Jiang Xian, the second son of the wealthy Jiang family. He spent thousands at this hotel every month, and he had to treat him respectfully. Jiang Xian didn't care about Li Heng's smile. He glanced at Ma Wenxiu in annoyance and said, "Who's this? Such an attitude. This." Li Heng was speechless. "Young Master Jiang, I'm sorry. This is my sister-in-law. She just arrived in Nanjiang City. She must have offended you." "I'll apologize on her behalf," Ma Yichuan said, stepping in to help Li Heng and apologizing. As the general manager of Jiang Hotel, he knew some well-known people in Nanjiang City, especially Jiang Xian. Normally, he wouldn't need to be so polite. But Ma Wenxiu had offended him, and he had to make amends. With these wealthy kids, even a small thing could backfire and waste his years of work. Seeing her brother-in-law apologizing for her, Ma Wenxiu knew she'd messed up. She got up and apologized too. "I'm sorry, I offended you. I apologize. Seeing their attitudes, especially President Ma, Jiang Xian felt satisfied. He said, "You are all right. Am I such a small-minded person?" "Never mind, sit down and do what you need to do. Don't mind me. I'm just here for the show." Chapter 24 Repentance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After he spoke, he turned to look at Qin Yu, having overheard the earlier conversation and realizing this was the owner of the Angel Qiang parked outside. He was curious. Anyone who could afford such an extravagant car and be his age was someone he'd never encountered before. Jiang Xian grabbed a sofa chair and sat down next to Qin Yu, introducing himself with a smile. "Hey, man, I'm Jiang Xian. That Angel Qiang yours, right?" Qin Yu smiled back, not wanting to seem rude. He'd sized up Jiang Xian and knew he wasn't just some kid. "I'm Qin Yu. Nice to meet you." "Yeah, the car outside is mine." Jiang Xian chuckled. "Dude, that's a serious ride. I saw one for sale in Nanjiang City, but I'm too broke to swing it." "The one you saw was probably at DUF Famous Cars," Qin Yu replied. "That's the one. Don't tell me you bought it from Lao Lu." Jiang Xian joked. "You got it," Qin Yu said. "Seriously?" Jiang Xian's eyes widened. "I saw that car the other day. Didn't they just sell it to you yesterday?" "Yep, just bought it yesterday," Qin Yu confirmed. "That's wild. You bought it yesterday and it's wrecked today." "That's brutal luck," Jiang Xian gave a thumbs up, then asked, "Seriously, how much did that thing set you back?" "Around 90 million, Qin Yu said casually. 90 million? Around? Jiang Xian laughed awkwardly. He felt like this first-gen rich guy was seriously flexing on him. Everyone present, except Qin Yu and Jiang Xian, was floored by the price tag. Even Li Heng, who knew the car was expensive, was stunned. He'd heard it was tens of millions, but never hundreds. Ma Wenxiu's heart hammered in her chest. The car really cost 90 million, making the 11 million repair bill seem plausible. If so, there was no way for her to avoid a huge loss. Since her divorce, Ma Wenxiu had received a considerable settlement, including property in Shanghai and 150 million in cash. She'd spent over 80 million on the Lamborghini, and after other expenses, she only had a little over 40 million left. She'd only bought basic insurance for the Lambo, so a 90 million payout was basically a pipe dream. Unless she sold her property in Shanghai and scraped together cash, she'd be broke. Ignoring everyone's reaction, Jiang Xian continued with regret. "Dude, if you'd hit me up before buying it, I could have hooked you up. That car definitely shouldn't cost 90 million, more like 80. You overpaid by like 10 million. Got it?" Qin Yu nodded. "Appreciate the offer. Next time I'm buying a car, I'll give you a shout." "Huh, cool, talking to you is a blast," Jiang Xian grinned. "Mr. Qin, did your car really cost 90 million? Ma Yichuan finally blurted out. He knew Jiang Xian wouldn't lie. But a random SUV costing 90 million seemed impossible, he secretly thought. If it's true, then the kid was lying about winning the lottery. There's no way the lottery paid that much. What a joke. He was starting to think this guy wasn't a new money type, just intentionally messing with him. "Mr. Ma, you're a general manager of a 7-star hotel, you need to get out more. Qin's car is a TS Motors, the latest Angel Qiang. Only about 5,000 of them are made, and only 20 are in China." "Google it," Jiang Xian scoffed. "TS Motors, Angel Qiang. That name rings a bell." Ma Yichuan suddenly remembered a VIP whose presence would inspire a formal atmosphere even from the major shareholders of Jiangyun Hotel, let alone him. Ma Yichuan had been lucky enough to meet the legend and saw that her car was the same as Mr. Qin's car. It has been a while since he had seen the car and did not recognize it immediately. Otherwise, he would not let his sister suffer such a big loss. This car is really worth 90 million yuan. He picked up his phone and entered the name of the car to check it out. Even Li Heng and Zhang Zhong grabbed their phones. The group gasped in shock and looked again and again. Ma Wenxiu didn't check, but judging by their reactions, it was true. The car was really worth 90 million, way more than her Lamborghini. She was starting to resent Qin Yu even more. Driving a car worth that much but acting so humble, was it really necessary to play so low-key? After thinking it over, she finally bit the bullet and said to Qin Yu. I've thought about it, let's do what you said before. Everyone repairs their own cars. Seems fair. Qin Yu looked at the presumptuous Ma Wenxiu, a hint of a smile playing on his lips, and pulled out the contract he'd just signed. Seriously? Think I'd agree to that? If we could change our minds at will, what's the point of the contract? This is my first time seeing such a shameless idiot, so it seems that a good show is about to be staged. Jiang Xian smiled happily. He had heard passers-by talk about this incident, and he came here just to watch this good show. Mr. Qin, let me apologize on my sister's behalf. Can we just call it even? We'll cover the actual cost of the car repairs, Ma Yichuan offered sincerely. Mr. Ma, you know if my car was cheap, your sister wouldn't be making these excuses. If you can't take responsibility, don't try to push it on me. 11 million is too steep, even my sister can't handle it. How about we split it? Ma Yichuan suggested. Bro, don't beg him. I'm not paying a dime for his car. I'll just take it to court. He'll get nothing. Ma Wenxiu jumped up, fuming. Then what's the point of talking? You're wasting my time, Qin Yu said dismissively. Wenxiu, sit down. Ma Yichuan said sternly. Ma Wenxiu, seeing her brother's glare, got scared and reluctantly sat back down. Mr. Qin, my sister's stubborn, sorry about that. I'm apologizing again on her behalf. Ma Yichuan pleaded, can't we just drop it? The repair bill might not be a big deal to you, but it could bankrupt her. Qin Yu glared at the humble Mr. Ma, then at the displeased Ma Wenxiu, and said coldly. Mr. Ma, I didn't want to make this a big thing. But your sister was aggressive and greedy. Now, she has to face the consequences. 11 million isn't a big deal to me, but why should I listen to you? Chapter 25 Help. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You nailed it, Qin, that's exactly what I was thinking, Jiang Xian said, genuinely impressed. He went on, I heard Qin wanted to handle the car repair himself at first, but this bonehead insisted on doing it this way. Now he's realized the repair costs are gonna be higher, and he's kicking himself. Jiang Xian shook his head, guys like you are the ones I can't stand. Looking at Qin Yu, he asked, Hey Qin, heard you got a signed contract. Yep, got it right here, Qin Yu said, smiling as he handed the contract over. Jiang Xian glanced at it, perfect. Why don't you just sign it over to me with a letter of authorization, and I'll take care of this. If she doesn't cough up the cash, I guarantee she'll be selling her house to cover it. What do you say? Ma Yichuan, who had been simmering, suddenly perked up. Mr. Jiang, this is really none of your concern. Why but in, he knew that if Jiang Xian got involved, Ma Wenxiu would have no choice but to pay up. The Jiang family's influence was no joke, and they wouldn't dare mess with them, contract or no contract. He had hoped to reason with Qin Yu, believing a guy who drives a car like that wouldn't sweat the money too much. Maybe he could convince Ma Wenxiu to apologize and ask for leniency, hoping Qin Yu would agree to a compromise. Even if Qin Yu refused, as an outsider, his influence was limited. Ma Yichuan believed he could use his connections to get the other party to budge. Mr. Ma, you're wrong. It is my business. Qin's my friend, so his business is my business. Besides, I don't like how your sister's acting. I'd step in for anyone in this situation, so I'm happy to help. Jiang Xian turned back to Qin Yu, what do you think, Qin? Sounds good to me. Thanks, Jiang. I appreciate it, Qin Yu said with a nod. He figured it was best to let Jiang Xian handle it, saving him a lot of hassle. Even with the contract, forcing the other party to pay would probably mean a court battle, which he didn't have the time or knowledge for. It wasn't about the money, it was about the time. With his system, he could make bank just by signing in a few times. Racking up sign-ins should be his priority. Jiang Xian's help meant he owed him one. But that was okay, he could always pay him back later. Seeing Qin Yu agree, Ma Yichuan sighed. With Jiang Xian in the mix, plus this unknown Qin Yu, there was no way out. No point in wasting energy and potentially offending them. He turned to Ma Wenxiu, just give Mr. Jiang what he wants. Follow the contract and pay what you owe. Brother. Ma Wenxiu was shocked and unwilling. You really want me to give it to him? Ma Yichuan just nodded helplessly. Fine, give me 2 days to get it together. I don't have that much right now. Ma Wenxiu gritted her teeth, her eyes turning red. Even her brother was saying it, so she knew she was stuck. This Jiang Xian must have some serious backing, and they couldn't afford to cross him. Having to cough up $11 million meant liquidating assets, either selling the car or the house. After her divorce, she no longer had an income. She was about to go from carefree to broke. A terrifying word. Since you asked nicely, I'll give you 2 days, but I better have that cash in hand. That $11 million covers the repair costs, so you can adjust it as you want. Remember, you have 2 days. Jiang Xian said with a grin. Mr. Qin, your car is ready. Hearing a familiar voice, Qin Yu turned to see Tang Qin approaching. She sure announced herself. Okay, I'll be right there, Qin Yu replied. Tang Qin was about to say something when she spotted the hotel manager and the lobby manager on the other side. She was puzzled and turned to Ma Yichuan, saying respectfully, Mr. Ma, you're here too. Ma Yichuan just nodded curtly. Tang Qin, it's you. Ma Wenxiu looked at Tang Qin, surprised and with a hint of resentment. Mrs. Li, long time no see. Hearing those words, Tang Qin saw Ma Wenxiu and her expression changed slightly, but she quickly regained her composure and greeted Ma Wenxiu. You two know each other? Ma Yichuan asked, surprised. Ma Wenxiu hesitated, then shook her head. Not really. She had almost said something, but remembering the $11 million, she didn't feel like opening that can of worms. Ma Yichuan didn't press it. He stood up, apologized to Jiang Xian, and dragged Ma Wenxiu away. The deal was done. Staying was just stirring up trouble. After they left, Zhang Zhong, the hotel security manager, followed them out. Li Heng, the lobby manager, greeted Jiang Xian politely, exchanged a few words with Qin Yu, and handed over his business card with a smile before leaving. He wasn't concerned with the relationship between Mr. Ma and Qin Yu. His priority was to network with the wealthy. That left Qin Yu and Jiang Xian in the lobby, along with Jiang Xian's blue-haired companion, Zhu Ying, and Tang Qin. Hey Qin, what's your WeChat ID? I'll add you so I can hit you up when I get that money for you, Jiang Xian said after everyone else left. Sure thing. Qin Yu pulled out his phone and exchanged WeChat contacts and phone numbers with Jiang Xian. Jiang, thanks for your help today. I don't think I asked your name yet. I'm Qin Yu, Qin Yu said, smiling after adding Jiang Xian on WeChat. I'm Jiang Xian, 24 years old. How old are you, Qin? I'm a year older, 25. Oh, so you're older than me. I'll call you Qin from now on. And you can call me by my name, or Jiang. Whatever works for you. Then I'll call you Jiang, Qin Yu said, laughing. Awesome, I like your style, Qin. We hit it off instantly. If you need anything in Nanjing City, just let me know. Likewise, Jiang. I'm not that interesting, except that I've got a ton of money. If you ever need funding or investment, come find me. Jiang Xian said happily, okay, I'll keep that in mind. Hey Qin, I'm Zhu Ying. Nice to meet you. The blue-haired girl, Zhu Ying, reached out to shake his hand. Nice to meet you, Zhu. Qin Yu shook her hand. And who's this? Jiang Xian pointed at Tang Qin. Even though Tang Qin was in uniform, she was strikingly beautiful. Someone like that would be noticed anywhere, and Jiang Xian was no exception. Hello, Jiang, my name is Tang Qin, and I'm Qin's personal service concierge. Tang Qin introduced herself. So Qin's staying at the hotel. Jiang Xian was surprised. Qin Yu nodded. My car's been towed to the shop, so I was thinking about buying another one, but I need Jiang's help. I'm looking for a limited edition sports car, but I don't know where to find one. Chapter 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, looks like Brother Qin's got a thing for sports cars. But with a ride that costs millions, why not just grab a regular one? Those limited editions are pricey, and you're stuck buying them used. Qin Yu chuckled. I just like to go all out, you know. When I buy something, I want the best. Same goes for cars. I heard limited editions are hard to come by, so I figured I'd ask if you knew anyone. True enough, otherwise you wouldn't have bought that Angel Jiang. Jiang Xian added, you came to the right guy. My aunt's got a used car biz, mostly high-end sports cars worth a small fortune. She even gets her hands on those limited editions. If you're serious, I can take you over there, but it's a bit of a drive. It's in Dongshou district, like, a 40-minute trip. Qin Yu wondered, would that mess up your day? Nah, I'm just kicking back today. No big deal. Alright then, here's the plan. It's almost lunchtime, so I'll treat you to a meal here at the hotel, and we can head over afterward. Sound good? Sounds great to me, Jiang Xian grinned. Then, Qin Yu pulled Tang Qin along, and the four of them headed up to the hotel's Sky restaurant on the 51st floor for lunch. Since someone had to drive later, they skipped the booze and just ordered some drinks. After the meal, Jiang Xian hopped into his Lamborghini, while Zhuing, who tagged along, hit the hotel gym instead of joining them. Qin Yu piled into a Rolls-Royce driven by Tang Qin, and they trailed behind, heading straight for that used car dealership in Dongshou district that Jiang Xian had mentioned. Back at the hotel entrance, the wrecked cars had been towed, and the rubberneckers had vanished. On the way, Tang Qin, behind the wheel, couldn't resist asking if Qin Yu knew the general manager of Jiangyun Hotel and Mrs. Li. You mean General Manager Ma's sister? You don't know her? Qin Yu asked, surprised. So she's Mr. Ma's sister. Tang Qin gripped the steering wheel a little tighter, a hint of worry in her eyes. I honestly didn't know. Haven't seen her once since I started working at the hotel. But you called her Mrs. Li, so you must know her from somewhere, Qin Yu pointed out. Tang Qin nodded. Like I told you, before I worked at the hotel, I was with a skincare company. Mrs. Li's the wife of that company's general manager. Ah, that explains it. No wonder you call her Mrs. Li. So, what were you doing sitting with them? Well, it's actually a pretty unlucky story. Qin Yu gave her the short version of the car crash and the compensation hassle, which cracked Tang Qin up. Serves her right. People like Mrs. Li need to be taken down a peg. That's what she gets for trying to be too smart. The only annoying part is that she's taking responsibility, but the security camera magically broke down. Probably Mr. Ma's doing. Isn't it convenient that the camera goes out of service at that exact time? Maybe, Qin Yu agreed with Tang Qin's guess, but he didn't sweat it. Then he asked, so, you really don't like Mrs. Li? Did she give you a hard time at that skincare company? Let's just say that. Tang Qin clearly didn't want to dig into that, so she changed the subject. You mentioned your car cost millions. What, you don't believe me? It really did cost millions, Qin Yu laughed. I'm just asking. Of course, I believe you. I just didn't realize it was that expensive. If I'd known, I would have come down to see it, when you drove it. Tang Qin sighed. Half an hour later, they pulled up to a large car shop on Tianyun Road in Dongshou district. It was a 6-story building, sprawling across a huge lot. The whole place was covered in glass, making it look super fancy. South Cloud Line. 3 massive characters were plastered on the building. That must be the name of the place. They parked in the lot and headed toward the entrance. A female employee in overalls greeted Jiang Xian and Qin Yu. Jiang Shao, welcome, and to you as well, sir and madam. Su Wei, is my aunt here? Boss Yun is busy with a customer on the 3rd floor. Want me to let her know you're here? Nah, I just brought a buddy to check out the cars. You can just show us around, and handle the deal if he finds something he likes. Hearing that his aunt wasn't there, Xian secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, thanks, young Master Jiang, Su Wei said, clearly excited. Brother Qin, let's head inside and see if anything catches your eye. Sounds good, Qin Yu replied, following Xian into the dealership. Su Wei was quietly impressed. She knew who Xian was, but she didn't expect him to call this casually dressed guy Brother Qin. This guy was probably more than he seemed. She mentally took note of Qin Yu, marking him as a client to butter up. Inside the showroom on the first floor, Xian gave them the lowdown. This is the main showroom. We've got over 300 cars here, mostly newer models under $500,000. There's the luxury car section, and over there's the sports car section. The second floor is the business office, service area, and where they prep the new used cars. The limited editions and the really high-end cars are all up on the third and fourth floors. Qin Yu couldn't help but chuckle. Sounds like you know this place better than the employees, Brother Jiang. Of course. It's my aunt's place, after all. I come by and help out all the time. Sometimes I bring friends to check out cars. I know the place like the back of my hand. So, what are you looking for? I can pull some strings and get you a discount. Alright, I'll take you up on that, Qin Yu said smoothly. To be honest, the money didn't matter to him, but it's always good to have an in. Just then, a cool, detached voice cut through the air from behind them. Xian, what do you think you're doing? You're such a star. I hope you don't come here every time and drive my car out for a walk. I'm going to pray so nothing bad will happen to it. Xian, who'd been feeling proud, suddenly deflated. He turned around slowly, forcing a laugh. Auntie, aren't you supposed to be with customers? What are you doing here? The business concluded, the woman said with a smile. Disappointed to see me? But you're here at the perfect time. I'm here to settle the score with you. Come on, Auntie, I'm here to bring you a big client, Xian pleaded. Xian, what big client is it? Could it be the dude beside you? That the guy who spoke was a chestnut-haired dude in a blue shirt, wearing a name tag. He looked younger than Xian, but was kind of scrawny, and was looking at Xian with a smirk. Chapter 27, Cloud Court Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What are you doing here, Zhao Song? Xian, clearly spoiling for a fight, watched the other man's face darken. Why shouldn't I be here? It's a car dealership, genius. I'm here to buy a car. Got a problem with that? Buy a car, huh? Xian gave him a sideways look. Which one are you buying? He then glanced at his aunt, hoping she'd give him the real answer. Young Master Zhao was looking at a car, but unfortunately, it was too expensive for him, she explained. Oh, Xian said, a smirk spreading across his face. Looks like you can't even afford a car, Zhao Song. Doesn't really live up to your big shot image, does it? Humph, Zhao Song scoffed. It's normal to not be able to drop $1 million on some fancy ride. But you, bragging about your second-hand Lamborghini on a payment plan? That's just sad. You. Xian sputtered, flustered. So what? My aunt's car is as good as mine, and I'll pay it off eventually. It's family business, anyway. None of your concern. Sounds like you couldn't afford it and had to bring family into it, Zhao Song retorted. It's a pity Mr. Yun doesn't think you're worth the trouble. You little jerk, Zhao Song, you asking for a beating. Xian exploded, especially embarrassed in front of Qin Yu, whom he wanted to impress. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to throw down. He and Zhao Song came from rival families in Nanjiang City, their businesses constantly competing. This bad blood had created a personal rivalry, always trying to one-up each other. 2 months ago, they'd had a huge bet, and Xian had lost a staggering $5 million to Zhao Song. Ever since, he had much less spending money. Xian, watch your mouth, Aunt Xiao snapped, silencing him with a glance. Don't you dare cause trouble here. Alright, Jiang Xian mumbled, the fight draining out of him. Sorry, auntie. Won't happen again. Zhao Song visibly relaxed. He'd fought Jiang Xian before, and he'd lost badly, ending up bruised and battered. The memory still haunted him. Jiang Xian, behave yourself. This is Mr. Yun's shop. I won't hold back if you start something. Oh, yeah. Wanna take this outside? Humph. I'm not stooping to a brawl. If you really want a competition, how about another race? See who's faster. Don't get cocky because you won that last race. I'll race you when I find a decent sports car. Jiang Xian's face was dark. Okay. I'll be waiting. With that, Zhao Song decided to leave. He turned to Aunt Jiang Xian. Mr. Yun, I'm heading out. Tell the owner of that car, 70 million is way too high a markup. 30 million, tops. If he's willing to sell at that price, have him contact me. Will do, Aunt Jiang Xian replied. Zhao Song left the dealership. Auntie, what kind of car costs 50 million? Jiang Xian asked. Something you can't afford. Jiang Xian grinned sheepishly. Speaking of, let me introduce my buddy, Qin Yu. We call him Brother Qin. He's here to buy a car. This is my aunt, Yun Chaoting, who owns this place. Isn't she stunning? She's known as the most beautiful woman in Shijiang City. Qin Yu felt a blush creep up his neck. He awkwardly extended a hand. Nice to meet you, Ms. Yun. The pleasure's mine, Mr. Qin, Yun Chaoting replied, shaking his hand lightly. Qin Yu was embarrassed because his heart was pounding. She really was beautiful, standing at nearly 5 feet 10 inches, she had the perfect face and elegant demeanor. Any man would be drawn to her beauty. He'd expected Jiang Xian's aunt to be older, but she was this stunning. Mr. Qin, what kind of car are you looking for? Maybe I can make a recommendation, Yun Chaoting said with a professional smile. Do you have any limited edition sports cars? Yun Chaoting was surprised. Yes, we have 2 for sale. But because they're limited editions, they're quite a bit pricier than new cars. Price isn't an issue. Tell me about them, Qin Yu said. Yun Chaoting raised an eyebrow, a curious look on her face. Alright, let me introduce you to these 2 supercars. The first is the Faraday Rafa, released 6 years ago. It's red, with only 500 in the world. 963 horsepower, and it's priced at 36 million. The other is the Aston Martin Magic, released 3 years ago. White, limited to 77 worldwide, 760 horsepower, priced at 73 million. Each time Yun Chaoting mentioned a car, Jiang Xian visibly swallowed. He was a huge sports car fanatic, constantly organizing races with his buddies. He dreamed of these high-priced limited edition supercars. He'd seen them before, but his family kept him on a tight leash financially. He used to have a reasonable allowance of $2,000 a month, and savings of over $1 million. But after that race with Zhao Song, and wrecking his $20 million supercar, his savings vanished, his allowance got cut to a measly $500, and he fell heavily into debt. The Lamborghini he drove now was a used car he bought from here last month, and he still only paid 2/3 of the price. Life was tight, and buying a car like this was just a pipe dream. Auntie, can you lend me one to drive? Jiang Xian blurted out. Don't even think about it. You're not touching these cars unless you buy one. Yun Chaoting shot Jiang Xian a look, then turned to Qin Yu. Mr. Qin, do either of those sound interesting? Qin Yu thought for a moment. What about that 70 million car Zhao Song mentioned? To be honest, Qin Yu didn't know much about sports cars. He was only concerned with the price. Buying the 73 million Aston Martin Magic wouldn't quite max out his budget, right? But if he spent almost $70 million on the other one, would it trigger a more valuable gift package? He wanted to see if the sign-in bonus would be higher if he got as close to the limit as possible. Besides, he really wanted to see what a car that cost so much even looked like. Yes, we do have a car priced at 70 million, she said, but would you really want to spend that much? Yun Chaoting frowned slightly, shifting from curious to skeptical. She didn't think Qin Yu could actually afford such an expensive car. She barely believed he could afford the other two. She was starting to think he was just wasting her time, kicking tires but with no intention of actually buying anything. Chapter 28 I bought it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Auntie, what kind of car are we talking about that's so expensive? I'm not the only one curious. Qin Yu must be wondering how any car could cost $70 million, Jiang Xian blurted out. Qin Yu perked up, his interest piqued. A car that expensive would attract anyone. It's a supercar that never officially hit the market. Some foreign tycoon bought it at a ridiculous price 3 years ago. But his company ran into trouble, banks wouldn't lend him money, so he was forced to sell it. There were only 3 of its kind made 3 years ago, each with a different name. Yun Chaoting slowly said, it's one of the Bugatti Dark Knight series, the Wind of the Dark Knight. The Wind of the Night? Whoa, no way. It's that car. I've heard of the 3 Bugatti Night series cars, the Wind of the Night, the Sound of the Night, and the Shadow of the Night. Jiang Xian, sounding like he'd done his homework, piped in, it's got a W16 engine that cranks out 1500 horsepower, and it goes from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. The body is one of a kind. I can't believe it's here. Yun Chaoting explained, the owner drove it here a couple of days ago to sell it on consignment. He wanted to keep it hush-hush because he was worried the publicity would hurt his company. So, we kept it quiet and only told a few big-money people. $80 million new, and he wants $70 million now. That's insane. Jiang Xian exclaimed. You don't have to buy it, Yun Chaoting retorted. The price is crazy high. It's more than twice what a new one would cost. Can he come down any? Jiang Xian asked, trying to get a deal for Qin Yu. This kind of car is every sports car lover's dream, but $70 million is too much, even for rich people, Yun Chaoting admitted. Last year, some dude in Europe resold the Sound of the Dark Knight for like $100 million. So, yeah, $70 million for the Wind of the Dark Knight is a lot. But the owner is asking for that much because his company desperately needs the cash. He said that if he can't get that price, he'd rather just keep the car. We've had a few interested customers check it out, but the price always scares them off. Right now, the top bid is $30 million from Zhao Song, who just left. Yun Chaoting made it clear that the price was pretty much set. How's that kid so rich? Where did he get $30 million? Jiang Xian grumbled. Yun Chaoting shot him a look. It's because of you. With the $5 million you lost to him, plus what he already has, $30 million isn't a stretch for him. Next time, I'm getting that $5 million back with interest, Jiang Xian said through gritted teeth. How about we just go take a look at the car? If I like it, I'll buy it, Qin Yu said. The idea of buying the car excited him. Qin Yu, are you serious about buying that car? Jiang Xian asked, his voice full of energy. He knew that Qin Yu had money to blow, and buying the car would not be hard. Qin Yu nodded. Sure, but I want to see it up close first. Awesome. It would be so cool if you bought it. Even if I can't have it, I'd love to see that kid Zhao Song's face when he hears the news, Jiang Xian said, fawning over him. You'll let me drive it sometime, right? Sure, no problem. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go check it out first, Qin Yu said, smiling. If you want it, you can have it. Jiang Xian was already picturing the scene. Yun Chaoting eyed Jiang Xian suspiciously, then looked at Qin Yu. Mr. Qin, are you really interested in buying the Wind of the Night? Auntie, don't underestimate him. The cars he drives are super expensive, Jiang Xian said, noticing Yun Chaoting's disbelief. You're not pulling my leg, are you? I wouldn't dare. He bought the famous Dua car. Yun Chaoting nodded slowly and smiled at Qin Yu. Excuse me for doubting you, Mr. Qin. I'll take you up to the 4th floor to see the car. I appreciate that, Yun, Qin Yu replied. Jiang Xian practically tripped over himself to lead the way, pressing the elevator button, and the group quickly headed up to the fourth floor. The Wind of the Dark Knight was parked in a small, private exhibition room. The lights came on, revealing its unique black carbon fiber body. A supercar, for sure. Xian circled the car, taking in its sleek look. The design was sharp and elegant, the most gorgeous he had ever seen. The pure black fiber, the seamless front face and side windows, the unique horse-tied iron intake partition, the dense exhaust grille at the rear, and the taillight, all screamed sophistication. Qin Yu may not have known much about sports cars, but he was in love. After a long pause, he asked, "Can I take it for a test drive?" "Of course." Yun Chaoting instructed Su Wei, who'd followed them, to get the keys. The keys arrived, about half the size of a phone, an oval LCD smart key. The car's controls could be managed from there. As the engine started, the cool mood lighting flashed, and the steel roar echoed, making one's heart tremble. The roar faded into a low rumble. Qin Yu opened the door, got in, tapped the accelerator, and the sharp roar filled the room again. The car's color, shape, and performance made it perfect. Qin Yu nodded, satisfied, got out, and closed the door, realizing everyone was staring at him. "Why are you all looking at me like that? Do I have something on my face?" Qin Yu asked, a little surprised. The Bugatti Dark Knight Wind had impressed everyone, not just because of its looks, but also its price. $70 million could be the most expensive car in the world. Especially for Tang Qin and Su Wei, who came from more average backgrounds, the amount was mind-blowing. "Qin Yu, what do you think? Do you like it?" Jiang Xian asked anxiously, his eyes lit up. No wonder Zhao Song was willing to pay $30 million. Qin Yu smiled and nodded. "It's a done deal. I'll buy it." Chapter 29 Payment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, bringing Qin along today was perfect. Jiang Xian exclaimed, thrilled. Tang Qin's excitement mirrored his, her gaze alternating between surprise and admiration for Qin Yu. Though their interactions were limited, she'd always sensed he had money to burn. No matter how high she estimated his wealth, she consistently underestimated him. Su Wei was equally stunned. She never undervalued Qin Yu, but this outcome surpassed her wildest dreams. Yun Chaoting remained composed. While Qin Yu's purchase of the Wind of the Night was unexpected, she showed little reaction. "Mr. Qin," she began, "the asking price for this vehicle is $70 million. Is that acceptable?" "Absolutely," Qin Yu replied. "Once I've made a decision, price isn't a hurdle. You mentioned the owner wasn't open to negotiation, so why bother?" Yun Chaoting gave him a sweet smile. "Mr. Qin is certainly decisive. There's just one detail I neglected to mention." She paused. "That $70 million is just the base price. We charge a 5% commission on the transaction, which comes out to $3.5 million. This fee includes registration and title transfer, but excludes insurance." "Got it." Qin Yu inwardly grumbled, "This place is a ripoff. $3.5 million is pure profit." He thought back to his days grinding away, barely scraping together a few bucks a year. "In that case," he said aloud, "calculate the total cost." Yun Chaoting did the math. "Insurance will be around $180,000, bringing the grand total to $73.5 million. Okay, sounds good. I'll swipe my card." Qin Yu cut to the chase, ready to settle the bill. $80 million. It was a lot, but the thought of making even more after spending it made it feel less painful. Seeing his readiness to pay without haggling, Yun Chaoting's smile widened. "Mr. Qin is truly a man of his word. Allow me a moment to confirm with the owner. It shouldn't take long. Thank you for your patience." "No problem," Qin Yu assured her. "I'll be right back." Yun Chaoting stepped aside, pulled out her phone, and made a call. "Mr. Qin, you're really buying it?" Tang Qin approached, her voice a mix of question and awe. It was the priciest car she'd ever seen. She couldn't even afford the annual insurance. "Yup, I'm pretty happy with it," Qin Yu replied with a smile. "But it's over $80 million. You could have bargained." Ms. Yun said it's been on the market for days, with the highest offer only hitting $30 million. I bet you could have snagged it for 33 million, saving yourself a fortune, Tang Qin said, sounding disappointed. You're not wrong. Qin Yu didn't disagree. The thing is, this car is a rare find. Missing out over a few bucks and seeing someone else drive it away would be a real bummer. So, I'm willing to splurge. It's not a huge deal for me. Tang Qin was at a loss for words. Clearly, her advice was unnecessary. He didn't even sweat the small stuff. Dude, after you buy it, let me borrow it for a few days, Xian interjected, trying to butter him up. Of course, no problem. Drive it as much as you want, Qin Yu readily agreed. After all, Xian had gone out of his way to help him today, and after Angel Chiang was fixed up, he'd be using that car mostly. A limited edition sports car like this was perfect for occasional spins, but it was too flashy for everyday use, which wasn't his style. Huh, music to my ears, Xian's grin practically screamed, dark night breeze. He could practically see the look on Zhao Song's face, when he rolled up in it. That kid wanted this car so bad. Mr. Qin, I've spoken with the owner. We can proceed with payment and signing the contract. There's one additional request. The original owner would like your contact information. If you're comfortable, please provide it, and I'll pass it along. Having concluded her call, Yun Chaoting returned with an apology. Of course, if you'd rather not, that's perfectly fine. The sale will continue as planned. No problem, I'll give you my number, Qin Yu said casually. Wonderful, thank you, Mr. Qin. Yun Chaoting expressed her gratitude with a bow. Please, let's head to the office. You can have a seat while we wait for the company's finance team to arrive. Then we can finalize the transfer paperwork. Sounds good, Qin Yu nodded. The group left the private showroom and entered the office across the hall. Soon, the dealership's finance representative arrived. The car purchase contract was signed. Swipe, *beep, transaction approved. As of that moment, the wind of the dark night belonged to Qin Yu, ready for him to drive off after the title transfer was completed. With the transaction final, he instantly became the most mysterious, attractive, and wealthy person in the room. Paying nearly 80 million wasn't a wire transfer or a cash deal but a credit card purchase, handled with unbelievable poise. Not just Tang Qin and Su Wei, but even Yun Chaoting looked at Qin Yu with something akin to obsession. What makes a man attractive? Isn't it the ability to spend money like water? But when Qin Yu produced the black card, Yun Chaoting's composure cracked. Her heart raced. She nearly said something but stopped herself, her eyes shining brighter with each passing second. Since the car insurance, transfer, and registration were being handled by the dealership, Qin Yu filled out some personal information, granted power of attorney, and provided his contact number. After everything was completed, Yun Chaoting handed Qin Yu her business card, along with a purple and gold membership card to a local club. Upon seeing it, Xian exclaimed enviously, "That's the top private club in Nanjiang City, the Nanqing Club Zijin card. Even the business elite struggle to get one. My aunt, a senior member, is the only one in my family with that kind of card, and she still wouldn't give it to me. You get one the first time you meet her." The South City Club. Qin Yu was curious. He had never heard of it, so he was naturally clueless. That club includes 80% of the business leaders in Nanjiang City and other areas of Nanjiang Province, and there are no more than 30 people who can have Zijin membership cards. Xian explained. Qin Yu nodded, finally understanding the gravity of the card. With it, he could integrate into the upper crust in Nanjiang City. Clearly, Yun Chaoting was more than just a used car dealer. "Ms. Yun, I have to thank you for giving me this card." After understanding the significance, Qin Yu thanked her. "Mr. Qin, you're welcome. If you want to thank me, feel free to visit the store more often." Yun Chaoting smiled and added, "Otherwise, you can call me sister, and I can call you brother." "Mr. Yun is too formal. Elder sister." "I can tell what you're doing, lady," Qin Yu thought, sensing a hint of cunning beneath Yun Chaoting's smile. Chapter 30 Guess. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin, I don't mind you calling me sister. Why are you so hung up on it? Am I not good enough to be your sister or something? Yun Chaoting said, a little annoyed. Okay, sister Yun it is, Qin Yu conceded. He figured, hey, having a beautiful sister like her wouldn't be so bad. That's the spirit. Now that you're calling me sister, you better keep in touch. Call me anytime you need something. Sure thing, Miss Yun. Qin, if you're calling my aunt your sister, what am I supposed to call you? Jiang Xian grumbled, sounding bummed out. Just call me Qin. We can each have our own thing, Qin Yu quickly replied. He definitely didn't want to suddenly have such a senior member of the family because of Yun Chaoting. Alright, then. After a bit more small talk, Qin Yu said his goodbyes and left the auto shop with Tang Qin. He'd bought the Wind of the Dark Knight, but it would take a couple of days to get the paperwork done, transfer the title, and get the license plate sorted out. He'd come back to pick it up once all that was taken care of. After Qin Yu left, Yun Chaoting turned to Jiang Xian. So, how did you two meet? You wanna know, huh? Jiang Xian briefly explained the run-in at Jiangyun Hotel earlier that day and how he'd ended up bringing Qin Yu to the auto shop because he wanted to buy a limited edition sports car. Yun Chaoting nodded. For once, you've actually done something useful instead of just goofing off. So, you think Qin is a big deal too, huh? Jiang Xian, with a bitter face, said, hey, come on. I'm not just goofing off all the time. I come here to help you with the business sometimes, too. Please. If it wasn't for my sister, I wouldn't even want you around, causing trouble. Besides, you're only here to keep your dad from dragging you into working at his company. You couldn't care less about helping out here. Yun Chaoting called him out. But, I'll give you credit, you did me a solid bringing Qin Yu here to buy a car today. Really? So, does that mean I get a commission? I definitely greased the wheels for Qin buying a car here. Jiang Xian perked up, his grin returning. We'll see, Yun Chaoting replied. How about I give you $1.5 million? Is that enough? Seriously? Jiang Xian nearly passed out. Huh, thanks, auntie. You're the best, Yun Chaoting smirked. Subtract the remaining balance on your Lamborghini, and we're even. Jiang Xian's smile froze. How about you give me the commission now, and I'll pay you back for the car later. You know, I'm kinda broke right now. 2 options. 1, no commission on the car, and you can pay me back slowly. 2, I give you the commission, and you clear the debt on the car. Your call, Yun Chaoting stated firmly. Fine, I'll take option 2, Jiang Xian grumbled. You said it. Hey, auntie, I'm kinda curious. You just met Qin, and you already gave him a Nanxing Club gold card? You don't have that many, and tons of important people would kill to get one. Jiang Xian's eyes narrowed. Could it be that you have a crush on Qin, love at first sight and all that? Though he's not really that handsome. Ow. Ow. Let go. Before Jiang Xian could finish, Yun Chaoting grabbed his ear. You have such a big mouth, even teasing your elders. You're lucky nobody is around. If someone saw that, I'd be so embarrassed. Yun Chaoting let go of his ear. Jiang Xian rubbed his reddened ear, grinning sheepishly. Phew, glad no one saw that. My reputation would be ruined. Serves you right. Yun Chaoting returned to the previous topic. The main reason I gave him the gold card and called him brother wasn't because of his money, but because he has a black gold card from the world's 5 biggest banks. Black gold card? Is that a special kind of card or something? Jiang Xian looked confused. The name sounded familiar, but he wasn't sure what it was. See? This is why I told you to read more, Yun Chaoting sighed. The 5 biggest banks in the world, including Longxia Bank, jointly released a special card, primarily for the wealthiest people on the planet. Jiang Xian perked up a bit. I know about that. The 5 elements card you're talking about, with the platinum card, the diamond card, and the purple gold card. With these cards, you can withdraw and transfer money, and spend money with the privilege, and you can also enjoy high-end service. These cards are better than any card made by other banks. Jiang Xian looked puzzled. But what about the black gold card you mentioned? Yun Chaoting smiled. The black gold card is a type of the 5 elements card, but it goes way above the purple gold card. Only 5 of them have ever been issued, and they're all held by the heads of major conglomerates, the leaders of chaebols, or the heirs of those hermit families. Their bank deposits have to be like 5 trillion yuan or something, and they've gotta have serious global influence. You need to be very influential to have this card. So people who haven't reached that level wouldn't even know it exists. 5 trillion. Jiang Xian felt a little lightheaded, his mouth suddenly dry. How do you know the card Qin swiped was the black gold card you're talking about? I'd believe it if Qin had a couple billion or maybe a few. But 5 trillion? No way. He shook his head. I'm supposed to believe that, Yun Chaoting rolled her eyes. I'd say it's at least 80% true. I was close enough to him to see clearly. The design on the card he had was the same. Exactly the same. She added, even if it is a black gold card, it might not be his. His family members might have given it to him. I see. Jiang Xian nodded. That makes more sense, so I can feel more normal, Yun Chaoting sighed. Either way, Qin's got a background you and I can't even imagine. He spent nearly $1 million without batting an eye, and someone's willing to let him use that card. That tells you everything. He might be the heir to some top-tier chaebol or a hidden family. We can't afford to mess with someone like that. You just need to befriend him as much as possible, but don't go digging into his background, got it? Jiang Xian nodded seriously. Don't worry, I know what to do. Qin Yu left the auto shop and got into the car. Tang Qin was naturally behind the wheel. Mr. Qin, where to now? Back to Jiangyun Hotel? Tang Qin asked from the driver's seat.